Welcome to Sports on Breakfast Central. I am Favour Itua. We'll begin with stories back home in Nigeria, where the federal government has restated its determination to use the National Identification Number (NIN) rather than facial screening of athletes during the National Youth Games, with a view to ensure speedy elimination of a cheat in the games. The Honourable Minister of Sports Development, John Owan Enoh, gave the assurance yesterday in Asaba, Delta State capital, during an interactive session with journalists. Owan Enoh stated that his directive to the officials on the mandatory presentation of national identity number during the screening of athletes was irreversible, as government is determined to get it right from the grassroots. Away from the National Youth Games, but still on the National Youth Games, but this time around, actions will commence on Monday, September 25th, 2023, in no fewer than 9 sports at the 7th National Youth Games in Asaba, Delta State, which enters day 3. The sports commencing at various venues in the Delta State capital include athletics, swimming, darts, golf, gymnastics, hockey, Scrabble, shooting, and swimming. Meanwhile, some states have registered their presence on the medal table in several sports events such as cycling, judo, para-table tennis, weightlifting, and swimming, which have already started. Edo State won 2 medals in cycling, gold and bronze. Katsina State won bronze via Emma Divine in the men's judo 40 kg. Kwara won gold in table tennis mixed doubles and 2 silver medals in cycling. Jigawa won gold in men's judo. Lagos State also picked 3 gold medals in weightlifting. A wait to see what happens, of course, with the athletes as the STEM states in Nigeria catch them young. And now to football stories. On the continent in Africa, Hussein El Shahat scored twice as Al Ahly of Egypt beat their CAF Champions League title defense with a predictable 3-0 win over St. George of Ethiopia on Sunday. El Shahat, popularly known as the Ninja, struck in each half in Cairo before being substituted in the last 32 first leg clash. Ahmed Abdelkader, one of many substitutes introduced in the second half by Swiss coach Marcel Koller, completed the scoring in added time. St. George, regular but largely unsuccessful African campaigners, were forced to cede home advantage because they do not have an international standard stadium. The return match will be played on Friday at the same venue, with record 11-time African champions Al Ahly virtually assured of a 9 straight appearance in the group stage, or perhaps, of course, if something unthinkable happens. All right, congratulations to Al Ahly having a first leg advantage. We'll wait to find out what happens in the return leg. And now to football stories in Europe. Son Heung-min's Braves and Tottenham a share of their derby spoils after an entertaining 2-2 draw at Arsenal. The result maintained both London clubs' unbeaten starts to the Premier League campaign, but Mikel Arteta's men would have been disappointed after they twice took the lead. Newcastle completed the Sheffield double in style as they equaled their biggest win of the Premier League era at Sheffield United, whose difficult week ended in an embarrassing 8-0 defeat. The Bardays, who paid tribute before kickoff to women's player Madi Kusak following her death at age 27 this week, endured a sustaining afternoon on the pitch at Bramall Lane. The Magpies hit Sheffield Wednesday for 8 under Sir Bobby Robson in 1999, and they did the same to their city rivals on Sunday as Sean Longstaff, Dan Byrne, Steven Botman, Callum Wilson, Anthony Gordon, Miguel Almiron, Bruno Guimaraes, and of course Alexander Isak all scored. An embarrassing scoreline for Sheffield United, and one, of course, Newcastle would forever remember in their history. And now to football stories from Netherlands. The Dutch Klassieker between bitter rivals Ajax and Feyenoord was abandoned on Sunday after several flares were thrown on the pitch, with Feyenoord 3-0 ahead 10 minutes into the second half. The match had already been suspended twice during the first half, once for flares on the pitch, the other time after a cup was lobbed from the stands. A double from Santiago Jimenez and one from Igo Paciao had given the team from Rotterdam an unprecedented first-half lead at the Johan Cruyff Stadium in Amsterdam. TV images showed 3 flares burning on the pitch, with smoke from other flares pouring from the notorious south stands of the arena where the hardcore F-side fans sit. According to the Dutch media reports, police used horses and fired tear gas to disperse fans from outside the stadium. Images on social media showed fans attacking the entrance to the stadium. Sad scenes from the game between Feyenoord and Ajax, and we only wait to find out what the verdict will be and if the match will be replayed or if 3 points will be awarded to the other team. And now, of course, to wrap up our sports update this morning, go straight to the world of rugby, where Wales became the first team to reach the 2023 World Cup quarterfinals as they celebrated a record win over Australia in Lyon. Garrett and Scombe kicked 23 points, and tries from Garrett Davies, Nick Tompkins, and Jack Morgan sealed the last 8th place with the game remaining in Pool C. Australia managed just 2 penalties from Ben Donaldson. Eddie Jones' side are on the brink of becoming the first Australian team to suffer pool stage elimination. The woeful Wallabies were humbled by Wales, who are celebrating a 4th consecutive World Cup quarter-final qualification under Warren Gatland as head coach. This display must rank as one of Wales' finest performances under the New Zealander, and the result beats their previous record win against Australia, which is 28-3 triumph in 1995. A victory over Georgia on 7th October in Nantes will officially ensure Wales finish as group winners, but only 2 match points will be required. That would set up a probable quarterfinal against Argentina, Japan, or Samoa in Marseille the following weekend, with England clear favourites to win Pool D. All right, interesting one for Wales. I'm going to see what they do next. That's it on Sports Update. We now go straight to Osaoge. Standing by.
Rugby just continues to look like a very interesting sport. I'm only just starting to notice it, bit by bit. And now that Manchester United is playing nonsense, I might just focus on rugby. But I also want to talk about the national sports. Is it festival?
National Youth Games.
National Youth Games. In what ways do you think that could have maybe be done better? It didn't seem like a lot of people cared that it's currently going on.
For last year, it didn't hold. The last time it held, I think, was 2021. I know thanks to some states not being ready. And for the past 5 years, it has always been Kwara State hosting. That's the University of Ilorin, precisely. Not until the hosting right was given to Delta State. And with lots of issues, the election not also happening early this year. So I think for the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sport, there was a transition from the last administration to the new Minister of Sport. So that might have as well played into this, as many states were not really ready, and some states did not really give proper funding because some states, of course, had new governors coming in to take over from the past administration. So I think this really played out. Before now, we've always had interesting publicity from the youth games. And one thing to talk about the youth games is the fact that first, it's under 15, and most of the athletes we've seen in the last 5 years have all graduated to represent Nigeria at the Olympics. The likes of Ace Ebrume, not forgetting also other athletes who have moved on from the National Youth Games to the National Sports Festival, and then of course to the Olympics for Nigeria.
Yeah, well, it obviously just needs a lot more work, and it shouldn't be dependent on which government is in office, whether they had elections or not. There's Ministry of Sports in every state, and those things should really just work by themselves. But I wish them the best. Thanks a lot for stopping by, Favour.
Thank you very much, Asaba.
All right.